Hi, you guys.
Hi there.
Hey, how's it going?
See.
Oh, it's been starting this
Bit of a
class
roller
this
coaster.
semester has been a challenge. It's been challenging.
Hey, John. Hello.
All right. How are you guys all?
Very good.
I'm excited
Doing
for
great.
you guys. I have not met you yet, really. So, it's it's been an interesting start to the semester.
It happens.
Oh wait, well, I'm gonna tell you guys the whole story, and you're really gonna like this one. So,
Hey, Susan.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, Susan.
Good to see everybody.
Hello.
yeah.
We were dismantled here. I wasn't even plugged in. I thought, oh my goodness. Been on vacation.
What's that like?
It was quick and work kind of crowded in, but I had some free Sundays.
To give you perspective here, I'm just going to lift up the computer. This is me right now, currently. Those are napkins. That's wedding stuff. So this is where I'm at. I got about 11 to go. I got 4 days. I can handle this.
Last summer, my daughter got married in July, and we had 250 people. And she told me like 5 days before the wedding, that the napkins that we bought were not maybe the best quality, because her mother-in-law bought them without us saying anything. So they wouldn't stay folded and like sitting on it. So we had to roll them into rosettes.
Oh, well, that's
Yay.
nice.
Yes.
We're not doing that. We're literally going to fold them in thirds and drape them over the edge of the table, and that's all I'm doing, because I've made everything, and I'm done being creative. I can't handle if you look close enough, my eye, it will twitch. Watch out for that. It's coming.
I understand. I do. Okay, so thank you guys. Thank you guys for bearing with me on the start of this. That's my children calling, even though they know I have class now. Thank you guys for bearing with me for the start of this class. Number one, I thought I opened up the class weeks ago, but I didn't click the right button. So I opened up all the assignments and fixed all the dates on the announcements, but I didn't actually open the class for you to have it. So then the book issue. Do any of you have books that need to be returned that you need me to contact the bookstore or anything like that? No? Okay, perfect. Because the book that I actually entered into the online system tool that we use was the book that you're supposed to have, the Miriam one. It's like $35. You know, get it on Amazon, get it used cheaper. Honest to God, I don't care what edition you have. It's the general understanding of it. We'll work with it. So that's what I entered online. And then there's 2 other books that I put in there as alternates that you could buy if you like to have books, which I do. But you didn't have to buy them. The book that you're supposed to have did not show up on the bookstore buy it list at all. It has books on there that I used 3 course offerings ago that I put on as optional books, and a book that I never actually used that I had them order me so that's the whole story with it. So the books that they have listed on there are great books that you would spend $250 on books, and none of those are ones that are required. So the book that's required is the Miriam book. I actually have posted 3 or 4 chapters in the course shell, so if you do not have it now, you have probably a good 2-week window before you need to actually have it in your hands, maybe even 3 weeks. Because I have chapters 1 through 3 posted for sure, and I think I have chapter 4 posted in there too. So The book issue, you know, if you bought the other ones, see if you can return them. If you need me to write you a letter or talk to the company, I can. Otherwise, the book that I sent out in the link and that's posted on the syllabus is the one to get, and you have 3 weeks to get it. So there you go. Also, just so you know, there is one copy of it electronically available through the library that you can go in and you can download up to 75 pages of it as a PDF chapter for free. But they only have one copy and they only let one person check it out at a time. So, I mean, I gave you 4 of the chapters, so you have those right now. I don't know how many other chapters 75 pages will give you. For $25 or $35 book, I don't know that it's really worth worrying about it if you don't have to, but if you're really pinching pennies, there's an option for you. So that's there. I jumped ahead of things now. My name's Jen Weibel, and I'm the professor for this course. You can call me Jen. If you're not comfortable with that, Dr. Jen is fine. If you're not comfortable with that, Dr. Weibel is fine. Even my undergraduates that work for me call me Jen, so that's fine. When I was working as a K-12 teacher for 22 years, my kids called me J-Dub because I wrote JW on my permission slips, unless the principal was in there, and then it was Mrs. Weibel. So, you know, this is fine with me. I understand, though, totally the feeling that it's not quite right, so if you don't want to call me that, it's fine. I'm fine with whatever you pick. My name is Weibel, as in like Weibel, you know, people more. That's how it goes. Even though it's spelled Weibel, it's the whole German pronunciation kind of thing. This is my 4th year at Central that I'm starting right now. I came from K-12, high school, chemistry, physics, physical science, K-12 tech integration for the district, and I ran the faculty support for the gradebook system, the LMS that we used, which started out as Moodle, went to some like weird conglomerate of a bunch of different things, and then it went to Canvas the 3 years before I left. We had a 1-to-1 laptop in the high school. We had 1-to-1 iPads at the middle school, and we were integrating them at the elementary whenever I got my job here. So I've done also corporate training for teacher professional development and for the grade book, so I have a little bit on that side, but that's kind of the full range of everything that I've done with that. My research interests tend to focus on the STEM side of things. Right now, I am looking at science curiosity and how to foster that. I've done scale development, which is quantitative, which you just had with Ming. So I've done factor analysis, structural equation modeling, and that kind of thing to develop scales. But I really consider myself a qualitative researcher, an ethnographer, in fact, because it's not the yes or no, it's the why that goes along with it that really matters to me, or the how. So a lot of the research I'm doing right now is looking at how students' science curiosity or creativity actually scale on score on a scale, and then we're looking for behavioral manifestations of this from literature frameworks within the experiences that we're giving them, and using videotaped observations, using artifacts that they're producing, interviews, and those kind of things to be able, papers that they have notes on or drawing on. And I'm using that then to try and tell this story, to give a really rich, thick description of what curiosity looks like in this specific setting if you have a score on a scale of like 25 versus 60. So looking at how their behaviors do that. And the reason I'm telling you this whole story and wrapping it around is this semester, what you're going to do then is start to look at how this thick description of things can help you tell your story, help you describe what you see, help other people to understand what you're seeing and what you're investigating and where you're kind of situating yourself in this whole educational realm of research. So for some people, you're like, yes, I hate numbers. And for some people, they come into this and they're like, oh, holy heck no. Give me the numbers, give me a yes or no, and that's all I want. That's okay. Because one more little story. I started out my entire doctoral program. I come from a physics and a chemistry background. I went into my, came out of my master's, and between my master's and my PhD, I'd taken 3 or 4 statistics courses. I came in and I am like, I am a quantitative researcher. I'm going to do numbers. I like statistics. I like the number thing. And my advisor from the very first day said, this is going to be really interesting because I am a longitudinal ethnographer, which means not only do they study the culture that's happening right now in short-term settings, but her dissertation was 350 pages of her looking at 3 years of students in their homes and how they use science in their home and how they viewed science. So, long story short, I know it's a long story, but this is really the short version. Long story short, we work brilliantly together. I mean, honestly, a lot of people don't work with their advisor after they graduate, and we are still like, on Wednesday, we're going to drop in, $2.5 million in NSF grant proposals between the 2 of us, because we are still really working together hand in hand and really kind of building on each other's ideas, and it works really well for us. So with that being said, I did find my place. I'm a mixed methods researcher. I do a little bit of the quantitative stuff. I do a whole lot of the ethnography and a whole lot of the interpretive, a lot of case study, those kind of things where I'm building this whole scenario. I'm illustrating how things are happening. I'm providing insight into what the children were thinking and doing and how their actions can be interpreted with our lenses. And that's what I get to share with you guys this summer. So everything you've been doing with the quantitative study that you did with Ming, all the research papers that you've written with everybody else in the program, except for Catherine, who I think you meet tomorrow night, right? She changed it till tomorrow night? Okay. So everything that you've done for everything else, a lot of it will kind of wrap around with this, and you'll be able to look at other pieces of it. So the research that you did with Ming last semester, a lot of times what people will do is they found kind of a sweet spot of where they wanted to maybe dig a little deeper. And so I'll push you to take the work that you've done with them and the readings you've done with him and kind of twist it and look at it from the how and the what and the why side of it instead of the yes or no. So that's kind of the whole range of things. This fall, you will be doing a couple weeks now, probably 8 weeks, of reading, talking to me, writing up some documents, putting things together so that you have all the pieces in order. And then between weeks 9 and 12, you are going to be conducting your own research project. We'll have a couple class meetings for touch points just to kind of make sure everybody's sharing what they're going on and to keep you on track, because it's really easy to fall down a rabbit hole of stuff not getting done, because it's not a survey where you send it out and you have a beginning and an end date. It's a lot of stuff that goes on. So we'll have a couple touch points during there. You will have to have a couple individual meetings with me that we'll schedule whenever, we'll try to schedule anyway, where it fits your schedule really easily, and I bend mine around to you. And you and I will talk through your whole procedure and what you're doing and how you're doing and how it's all playing out, and that, because it seems to work a little bit better after a couple rounds of this, I've found. Doing it individually, those 2 meetings are going to be required. They can be this: hi, Dr. Jen, I'm doing really great. I think I'm on track. I've done all my interviews. I've got my stuff started to analyze. I have 2 findings that I think I'm concentrating on. I'll talk to you if I need to talk to you. That can happen. Or it can be, 2 hours, 3 times over a 2-week span, where we sit and go through everything you've got and dig through if we need to. So it's really based on your needs for that, but I will need to talk to you twice or I drop your grade a lot, okay? Because otherwise, I have found in the past that people fall off the face of the planet, and then when they try and put it all together the last 3 weeks of class, there's no surfacing, and we want to keep you guys on target and keep you moving forward. Okay, so any questions for me right at the moment? I know it's a lot of me spewing at you, and I don't even know you guys very well yet, so sorry about that. It'll get better. I'm going to share the syllabus with you. It is posted in the my Facebook, or not my Facebook, my Firefox just crashed. Oh well, I can't show you the class shell then. You can see this, correct? Okay. basically it's summarized here. Every week I try to make this into 2-week chunks. These 2-week chunks kind of cover a topic or an idea. So you'll have some readings. I have extra readings always posted. If you're somebody that likes to have other viewpoints of it, or you don't, if Miriam does not resonate with you, the students last semester said it was way, way easier than reading Cresswell. Cresswell is the gold standard for methodology. Hold on one second. My kids are calling me like nonstop, so I just have to say I'm in class. Okay, there we go. And now I'm turning my phone off so they don't call me back again. So with this, they said the Miriam book they thought was easier because I sent them a chapter to help out with things. Cresswell's the gold standard though. So I have given you an old Cresswell book. I would suggest anytime you find Cresswell on like the clearance rack somewhere, or you're looking in Amazon, after a couple of books you buy, they start to suggest things. If you see it like used for like $3.98 for a version 2, get it. Because this is something that people will refer you to, or that you'll refer back to as you write your dissertation. Even if it's an old copy, it doesn't matter. But if you want to buy the new one, you can buy the new one. You can find it used at a decent price. Thrift book is pretty good most of the time. Amazon is pretty good most of the time. But I give you lots of book options, and I toss a bunch of other chapters at you with a lot of things. So you're going to start off with week 1 just writing your position statement. The position statement is max 2 pages, double-spaced, and it's going to say, hey, my name is Jen. I have a background as a high school chemistry teacher, and I work, this is the kind of area that I want to be in. I think my research interests are here. This is my position or my perspective with regards to, like, am I a social constructivist, or am I really believing in like post-positivism or any of these things? And you'll read about this, so don't worry right now. But I would say that I am a social constructivist. I believe that knowledge is created as you're negotiating the meaning between people. So if you think about how you learn and how people learn, you have your head here, you pull off the top, pour stuff in, and it spouts out the end. Do you think that people have to construct their own meaning? How does this work? So thinking about how you believe learning happens and that people view knowledge is something that helps you kind of position yourself with that. And then you're also going to pick one of the kind of worldviews. Are you really pushing for social equity? Are you going to have an agenda that maybe focuses on one of the other aspects that they give you? But this all boils down to, how do you view the world, and how do you view learning and knowledge? Okay, so you'll read about it, it'll be in there. And if it's something, and this is how I work, if you send it to me and it's pretty good, I'll give you the points for it. If you send it to me and it is so off topic that I don't even know where you're coming up with it, I'm going to send it back to you and I'm going to say, all right, so here are the things that I think you aren't tackling in here. I need you to redo this. You don't want to have to do that because there's a lot of work in this class. I try not to give you ever any busy work. But if you need to rewrite it, you'll rewrite it. I don't ever believe that you turn something in once, for me, not as a departmental milestone, and then it has to be the end result until you get to your end paper. So people sometimes panic with the first assignment because it's kind of loosey-goosey in there. There's not a rubric. It just says list these couple things. It's all right. Give me your views on it. Read it, and it kind of gives me an idea where you're putting yourself, how you're kind of viewing everything that's going on, and kind of what angle you're probably going to be taking whenever you're doing your research if you don't change a whole lot. We won't meet next week because it's Labor Day. People are going to be doing stuff. You don't need to meet. Next week, you're going to send me your topic that you think you're going to investigate, and you're going to start looking for articles. If you cannot find qualitative research articles that fit the parameters that I give you, find me some other things that are a little broader about it. Maybe you, instead of looking at augmented reality, maybe you look at virtual reality and augmented reality, or maybe you look at augmented learning as a whole. So you expand it out until you find some articles that are there. If you think that there's still not anything, some people are working in really brand new areas that have not been investigated. So you find me some things that you think connect along the edges and leave your topic in the center. If you can't find, send me 5 articles that you think relate to your stuff. Hopefully they're qualitative. If you can't find them, send me quantitative ones and tell me you're going to keep looking, okay? But you need some ideas of how people investigate things that are qualitative and not just the quantitative ones that you tackled with me before. Week 3, there's nothing to turn in. It's your lit review. You're going to be working on it. And then we start working through, these are your methods, your observation guide, your protocols, all the pieces that are your study design, how you're going to ask them the questions, how you're going to analyze your data. All of this stuff happens up through week 8. And it's kind of like I'm teaching you how to ride a bicycle. Does everybody know how to ride a bicycle? Maybe, kind of. All right, we'll pretend you do. So I'm showing you all of these pieces. I am telling you how to do it. I'm having you sit on a chair and pretend that you're pedaling. We are talking about how you ride a bicycle. We are watching videos that talk about balancing and how you ride a bicycle. Week 9, we take off the training wheels and we give you a shove, okay? I'm here, on your training wheels, I'm still there, we just raised them up a couple inches. But week 9 is when you actually start putting all these pieces together and learn to ride your bicycle, okay? You learn to do the qualitative research by doing qualitative research. So up through week 8, we're getting you ready. Week 9 through 12, you're gonna be riding your bike, learning how to ride your bike. Then you're going to be putting it together. Week 13 through 15, this is a 16-week semester instead of summer, which is when this class is usually taught, and it's shorter. So you get an extra week to write your paper. Ta-da, thank me. And then you have a research presentation, and then you have your candidacy exam. Candidacy is sometimes called prelim. I think Mike calls it prelims whenever he talks about it. Just so you don't get all excited and flustered about it. The candidacy exam is basically, we will send you some papers, we send you a prompt, you read the papers, and when you're ready, you log in and you write for a couple hours, okay? So it's a timed essay based on the readings that we send you. And we'll talk more about that as you go. We give you officially finals week to write this. Catherine and I will not have any assignments due that week, really. You'll have the whole time to write this paper this week, and that's your time in class. We will give you a couple other weeks, like before Christmas, for you to actually do it, so you have some flexibility with your schedule. But because we build it into the class, then officially, you have time to do it within class, even if your class is, even if you need to do it maybe on the 20th of December or whatever. But you'll have some flexibility when you prepare for it and when you actually do this, okay? Grading for the most part, there's a few things. There are some assignments that are zeros. I know people say they're demotivating, but really they're just placeholders, because this all comes down to the data that you collect and the paper that you write at the end. And there's enough kind of placeholders as we go through that you are, building your pieces of this. So your final paper ends up being, your lit review is already done, at least the draft of it. Your methods are already done because you've turned them into me and we've given you feedback and you've honed those before you actually do your research. You already have your structure of your interviews. You already have your structure of your observations. You already have the documents that you're going to pull and analyze. And we talk through your analysis before you start, okay? So really it comes down to putting all these pieces together in a nice paper and then probably 3 to 4 pages of you telling me what you found. All right, so the final paper is not really as overwhelming as it kind of looks when you start looking at it because you'll have 2/3 of it done before you even start collecting your data. Okay, and then we talk through. I talked to you about it. So we'll figure out how to, all that. So the expectations then, I'm really good at emailing you back. If I don't email you back in like 24 hours, it probably went to my spam mail and I didn't see it. Okay, even if you write to me with your email from campus, it doesn't always push through. So if I don't get back to you in 24 hours, feel free to email me again and say, hey, I emailed you. Are you going to answer me? I'm also going to give you my cell phone number I think I have it in the class, and I'm going to put it here. You can text me anytime. I don't care. You text me anytime. I'll get back to you as soon as I can with it. If you have an emergency happening while you're conducting your research, you know, you're using hot glue guns with kids in a makerspace activity and somebody sticks it on their arm and third-degree burns it, you need to know what to do. Other than take it away from them, yell at them, call their parents, and put water on it. I've had that happen, by the way. You know, you can get a hold of me. I'm there. You know, this is me up here. I'm your balloon. You've got a hold of the string. You can yank on it anytime and say, hey, I need help. Okay, so even when you're doing your independent research, I'm here. I'm supporting you. And if you need it, I'll be right there if you need it. Okay, so there's my phone number. It's in the chat bar if you need that. I think it's in the syllabus too, but I'm not sure. It might be my office. No, it's in there. You can call my office number too, the official office number, but I'm never in my office at a guaranteed time. So that's easier to get a hold of me with that. You can text me, even leave me a voicemail if you want, but texting or your email is probably the best. So with this, you'll be working primarily independently. I'll be putting you in small groups to work through some issues while we're talking about things or whatever. You can meet with those on your own time if you need to. The Blackboard Shell, for some reason, are you guys getting announcements through the Blackboard Shell? Are they coming to your email? Okay. If you log in though and you see ones that are in there that you're not getting in your email, the ones that I'm sending out immediately, like there was a screw up with the book order, those ones are coming through to your email, but the ones that I post otherwise I do not think are coming through to your email properly. I'm having a fight with IT right now to try and straighten it out. Because my other class that's open right now that has not had any issues have not gotten any emails with their announcements in it. So if you notice that you're not getting emails from the announcements or whatever, let me know. If there's anybody running only a Chromebook as your main primary source of using, you know, editing tools or whatever, please let me know, because one of the pieces of software that I will recommend that you use, that I will work with you on one night, will not run on a Chromebook. It will run on an iPad or an Android device or any form of computer. But if you're running a Chromebook, it'd be good if you let me know. Also with the formatting for your hanging indents with your references and that kind of thing. Okay, questions you guys have?
Jen,
Yes.
do you have a rubric for the position paper?
No.
Okay.
This
Thank
is
you.
the rubric. Did you talk about yourself? Check yes or no. Did you talk about your position with respect to the perspectives that they talk about? Yes or no. Did you talk about your approach that you feel that you might be using? Yes or no. Holistically graded in that you turned it in, it looks like you spent a little time thinking about it. I understand what you're saying, and it looks like you actually thought about the chapter. I can make you a rubric if you want, but it's pretty much going to be that. Yeah. Other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So we should plan on meeting every Monday except for next Monday?
Here's the deal. If you can't make class, I'll record class, I'll post it, you watch it at some point in time. I know that all of you have, all right, so here's the other piece I didn't mention. When I did my doctoral program, I had a year sabbatical in which I took all of my coursework except for 2 classes. So I took 5 classes a semester, which I would never recommend to anybody else in their right mind, because I was not in my right mind by the time I got done. There were weeks that I had 1,000 pages of reading to do and process, 1,000 pages. And then I went back to teaching school full-time, driving 2 hours to campus for the last 2 classes, taking 4 kids to 4 different sports teams in their school, which was 20 minutes the other direction from the high school that I taught at, and trying to like breathe. So what you guys are attempting to do in a 3-year program, I get. I have lived your life, and I truly understand the demands that working a full-time job, which most of you don't just like work a full-time job, you're like A gamers, and you know, you do way more than a full-time job you should be doing, from what I've heard anyway from this class as well. So if you can't make it, you can't make it. There are people, I mean, in the other cohorts, there have been people that were in, you know, Hong Kong and in Africa. And I mean, I wasn't making Dana get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to drive to her school to sit on the Wi-Fi so she could Zoom. You know, so we've made it, if you can't make it a single session, you're going to lose out, but it'll be okay. So they're scheduled every Monday night. I would love to see everyone here every Monday night. If you can't make it, you watch the video, you email me with questions, we meet up some other time when it works for you, and we talk through it. But, I mean, there's going to be nights that your mom wants to have dinner for you, and, you know, you need to be at your mom's house because you have to. There's going to be, you know, it doesn't have to be an emergency like you're in the hospital delivering your baby or having, you know, your appendix out. And if that does happen, please don't send me pictures of your scar to prove that it happened. I got them my first semester. You know, when the email starts out, how the HR ya? This is probably not the way I should be introducing myself to the professor. You know it's going to be a good one. So yeah, I'm going to have class every Monday night for the most part throughout the semester. I'll be here. You be here when you can be here. You try to make it work. You ask me lots of questions through email or through texting if you can't make it, and we will have a good time. You may hate qualitative research when this is done. You may hate me when this is done. It's okay. You don't have to have me again for another year. I'm okay with that. I've learned everybody does not love me, much as you know, pains me to say that. But yeah, truthfully, make it work when you can. And like I know some of you are driving long distances back and forth. You know, do not drive in Zoom, number 1. That's a recipe for disaster. Number 2, watch the video later. It'll be okay. Now, if I'm the only one sitting here and it's like presentation night and all 9 of you have sent me or 8 of you have sent me your presentation via video because you can't make class, I'll probably send a grumpy email out to everybody that says, now listen, we're not even going to have class tonight because nobody was bothering to show up. But I mean, that's about how long me getting mad lasts. So last thing, do not self-plagiarize the papers you've written for other classes. Okay, so you can't take your chunk of your lit review from Ming's class and drop it into my paper. With that being said, if you're working within the same realm of research, that you're looking at the same topic with a qualitative lens versus a quantitative lens, double dipping on the lit review that you've done, double dipping on the things that you've already put together is a very reasonable expectation. Don't copy and paste. Use the same literature base, look at it, reframe what you're saying, rewrite what you're saying. Typically, if you're writing for a journal and you have, you know, a journal paper on this and a journal paper on that, your lit review should be 50% new material. That's a really good realm to have. I don't know how my internet connection could be unstable. My internet connection's unstable. The router's right here, like it's far from me. And I'm the only one that lives here. Okay, so you can reuse the stuff that you have. You need to rewrite it. Use the same literature you've already learned. Use the stuff you've read. Take really good notes so that you can repurpose it. But I don't expect everything that comes out of your pen or typing hands or whatever to be pristinely brand new papers that you've read the very first time for this class. Hopefully some will be. You'll expand your research base, you'll expand all of that, but you can repurpose some of the things. And as you move forward, you probably will be doing that again, but keep in mind, it has to be rewritten. You cannot copy and paste from one to the other because it'll flag you. So, other questions?
I have one about organizational software. We're supposed to select something by next week.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you
What do
very much.
suggest?
All right. Have any of you been using Mendeley, Zotero, EndNote, ReadCube, Annotate, Pages, any of those kind of things to keep track of your PDFs?
I've been using Zotero.
You already got your stuff selected. You're ahead of the game. Those are organizational softwares. I am really, really bad at using this. So whenever I go to research for a paper, I'll be like, it's the Jordan and Henderson piece from 1995, and I either look it up online again and hope that I can download it, or I search it on my computer and then I can't find it, so I download it again. So then I have 17 copies, 6 of which are annotated for different purposes, and it's a very big, enormous waste of time. You guys don't have time to waste. Having something that organizes your papers, organizes your references, keeps track of your notes is immensely important whenever you're on a time crunch. And if you guys have like 6 extra hours, then, you know, hey, I've got all kinds of research projects I can throw your way and you can help me out. But, you know, you're smiling, but I know you're saying, oh, no. So Mendeley I love because you can take all of your PDFs, and because of the metadata that's stored in them, when you throw it into Mendeley, 90% of them, it pulls out all this stuff and it says like Jordan and Henderson, 1995, interaction analysis, and it puts the whole citation in there for you. And it identifies them even if your PDF name is like IO7763 PDF. Okay, so that's really great. Zotero, I think, will do that. I just signed up for my first Zotero account in like 7 years this summer because another research group I'm working with uses that for their research base. So I signed up for Zotero, but I don't know a whole lot about it except the old version. Julie Liddell Thomas, who is going to be defending her dissertation anytime soon, started a bunch of us working with ReadCube, so I've played around with it a little bit. I think it's a paid subscription. She also uses Airtable. Pick something that you like, stick with it. It helps you out a lot. I'm going to ask you what you're using. I'm not going to check it. If you want to lie to me, you can lie to me. Okay? It'll make your life easier, though, if you do start having that base built. Okay? Anything else?
Our test. Is this the first test or the only test?
The one at the very end?
Yes.
We never sit you down and make you take a test. We make you write some papers. So
Okay.
I am just blessed with the fact that you take your prelims or your candidacy exam where we give you a couple papers and you write one paper timed for us. This one, when I see you again next year, in 3 more semesters after this for grant writing, which is your very, very last class, you will also write 3 papers that will be your comps exam. These are required benchmarks that the Higher Learning Commission requires that we have and the grad school requires that we have. So we have built them into your classes so that you don't have it on top of your coursework. So you'll take the candidacy exam at the end of the semester and we won't give you classwork those weeks unless you're running late. When you take your comps exam, it's basically 3 papers. We give you 3 questions. You write it kind of framed from however the work that you're working on. And you have 6 weeks to do that in. And it's built into the grant writing class. So
Okay, so are these exams sort of the I hate to use it in this sense, like juried, we go on or we are done, or okay.
Here's the deal. If you do not pass the candidacy exam because you are a bad writer under pressure or whatever, 3 hours is going to kill you. And I'm going to give you ideas at the end. I'm going to walk you through how I think you should prepare for it. Okay, so don't panic. You get a rewrite. If you really, really screw it up, you get a rewrite. And if that doesn't work and you bomb the rewrite, then we sit down with you and we talk you through what you think you're going to have to be able to do. I will be honest. No one has ever failed the second attempt. We've had people that did not pass the first one that have had to do the second writing attempt. We've never had anybody that has been exited out of the program on that yet so far. Okay? So it's something to be conscientious about, but it's not something to freak out about. Okay? So we would, yes. So it's not, this is what I would say. Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Really, seriously, by the end of the semester, it's going to be okay. Because I'm gonna say, like, read the papers, and write your summaries on the side on your sides of your papers. Take notes, highlight things. You guys know how to critique stuff now. You've been through the class with Mike and with Ray. You've been through Troy's class, Bing's class, all of this stuff. You know how to read literature now. You know how to look at findings and interpret them. You know how to look at a study and say, this is what I would rather do, or this is what I think that they're saying. You know how to do that. So if you read through the papers and you prepare for it by making sure that you have a good handle on what's in the papers, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And even if you're not the best writer in the entire world, you'll still be okay. And the same thing with the comps. The comps, you even have time, if you're really working ahead and you're really focused on it, you even have time to send it to the writing center with your comps, if that's something that you feel like you need to do. So, for feedback and for structuring and grammatical errors and that kind of thing. And I would say also that Grammarly does a pretty good job of catching a lot of things, and also just kind of you can't do it for the exams, but the other papers that you write, having people give you feedback within your peer group works really well too. Having a critical friend read through and be like, yeah, your argument's falling apart right here. I have no clue where you went with this paragraph, okay? So having people that will do that with you to get you better before you get into these is a good thing as well. But as a whole, I've heard that you guys are a good crew. And I don't think there's really anybody that people are really super worried about. So, I'm not expecting to have any problems. And if we get well into the semester and I think that they're going to have them, we will talk. We'll sit down and we'll have a little, come to mama moment. Where we have to lay down the smack down and tell you need to get your butt in gear and start cranking it out like you're supposed to be able to. So, all right. Other than that, any questions? All right. Awesome. So email me if you find out you have questions later on. Have a really great week. For those of you that have already informed me that you have way, way more than you should ever have in your life going on this week, as long as you get me that first paper by the end of next week, I'm fine with it. And that's how I work. I mean, life happens. So if you're a week late with everything, I'm probably going to get a little irritated. But if you're a couple days, you've got something going on and you need a couple more days, shoot me an email and say, hey, I will have it to you by Wednesday at 8 a.m. And, unless I have to have grades due the very last week of class, then we'll be fine. Anything else? Awesome. All right, then. It was really good to meet you guys. I don't know a whole lot about you, so I expect that your first paper to me will tell you a little bit about you so I can really situate you, and I'll learn more next time. If you want to stick around and chit chat and just say, hey, how you doing, and tell me about yourself, you're welcome to. But this officially ends class. I will turn off the recording.